Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America and English.
Oh, what a strike! Club America!
Your hosts for today are Ivan Pineda, Cristian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Go! Now let's hit the field and start the show.
America! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today, we're going to be bringing you guys a preview of the upcoming quarterfinal match against Atlético San Luis. So we got plenty to talk about in regards to Las Águilas del América. And joining me today to talk all of that and much more, it is none other than my beloved co-host. It is Chris Rivera and Christian Rosendo. Gentlemen, how are we tonight?
Good, man. Good. I'm not going to talk about the weather, but I am going to talk about how the Lakers are going to win later today. And we're going to get closer to the 18th league title for the Lakers.
There you go, 18th. Lakers in 6, I think is what we called it.
I said 5.
You said 5. I said 6.
And Dylan said Warriors in 6.
So, I mean, well, that's kind of where we're at in that situation. But, well, enough basketball here. Christian, how are you? I saw you were running out today.
Yes. Came back from a nice little jog. Got to get the summer body right. Me, I'm not gonna talk about the weather either, but I will say that I am still. I'm in prep mode. All right, we got Liguilla coming. My beloved Real Madrid plays the first leg tomorrow. So I'm just all over the place right now, trying to contain myself. But it's gonna be. Hopefully, it's a good week. And I could see two of my teams advance into the next round of each competition.
Definitely. Hopefully, it's a good month. Let's just put it in that perspective. Hopefully, it's a good month. Yes. in that perspective. And Christian kind of hinted at potentially America being crowned champions if Real Madrid crown themselves champions in the Copa del Rey. So part 1 is done, Christian. Now on to the next phase.
Yes, that's correct.
Alrighty then. Let's jump and talk Club America. But before I do, how you guys feeling about tomorrow? Because Chris and Christian are two very avid Real Madrid fans. How are you guys feeling about tomorrow's game? Because City is looking like no one's stopping them anytime soon.
That's what they said last year.
Yeah, I think they might take game 1, but I think Madrid takes it all. It's one of those Madrid, like people that are anti-Americanistas hate the comparison, but Madrid and America are very similar in the fact that they might lose the game 1, and then the second leg, it's like a completely different team.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little difficult because this year the roles kind of reversed because the first leg is in Spain and the next one is in England. I just feel like if we don't win tomorrow, then I don't think we advance. But I mean, like anything is possible, as we saw last year and what happened. But I think I feel more confident going into England with the lead rather than a tie or being down. That's just, I obviously City are a much better team this year. They're completely different. I think we're not a worse team, but we're kind of like stagnant. So like we haven't changed basically. And it really depending on just 2 players to really go lights out, and we gotta see what happens. But obviously I'm optimistic, but it's hoping for the best. Hopefully we can get a win tomorrow.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys follow these guys on Twitter, as they'll be giving you guys their live reaction. And if you guys want to hear more about their Real Madrid hot takes, make sure you guys listen to their podcast, The Merengue. So it's a nice little segue for you guys if you guys want to ever make that happen. But funny enough that you guys mentioned that, or at least you guys talk about that. It's a perfect segue into now talking about America, talking about this game, and the importance of starting off strong. Right? And I think that's kind of where we're all kind of feeling that America has to do in this game. I'm tired of playing that same old fiddle song, The Comeback Kids. And I think, Christian, you mentioned this maybe a year ago or a season ago, saying that it's kind of, you have to put an end to that and be dominant.
Yeah. And last year we failed to do it once again. Being down in the tie against Toluca, it's just, we put ourselves in the position when we know we're the better team. And I think that's just what frustrates the most, because I think we've had a top 3 team for the past 3 years, I think. and just to see us put ourselves in positions where lesser teams can just take advantage really, really early and not be able to come back from it. It's annoying. But hopefully this year it's a different story. A lot of the teams that usually give us headaches aren't there anymore. And we got a very favorable first match, but it's all about not getting carried away.
Absolutely, and I think you mentioned it perfectly. Not getting carried away, Chris. This is probably one of the more quote unquote easier opponents on paper for America to get Atletico San Luis. But I would argue that it's probably one of the tougher opponents to possibly draw. I mean, they're coming off a really big high against beating Leon away. And now they're coming into this one knowing that they could possibly even pull a second upset. So, I mean, first of all, let me ask you this. How did you feel after seeing the Leon game, automatically knowing that we were going to get Atletico San Luis? How did you feel? How do you feel about the opponent? And then maybe kind of go off on the opponent of maybe not underestimating this opponent either.
I mean, I liked it. I think I'd rather not face Atlas this early. That's how I felt. I felt if we were to, I think Atlas is a dark horse out of this, and I think we were gonna face them, right? If I'm not wrong on that, and I think facing them early would have been a disaster for us. Now facing someone like San Luis, who in my opinion, their key players are very similar to Atlas key players, which is what is the Brazilian guy Vitinho, right? Vitinho and Murillo, right? Who are very fast, very to me like I'm happy we're facing someone like that early, so we could get at least comfortable or adjust. Maybe not comfortable, adjust to that style of play early because I don't think. I mean, I'm not trying to like jinx it by saying it, but I don't think that they're going to be good enough to beat us. But I do think they're going to give us problems that could bring us like become more mentally prepared for semis and potentially the final.
I agree. I agree in that context that it's not gonna be the most easiest of games of America. Lets it be that, Christian. I think the most important part is like you mentioned, kind of stamping that authority onto them right away. Like, hey, we're the better team. We finished second. There's a reason why we're the favorites in this one,
Just like we
and you
did
got to
last year against
showcase it.
Puebla.
And then that's what I was gonna kind of cycle to that. We did a very good job against Puebla in doing that. So
Of
I think you just have to repeat that again in
course.
San Luis.
Right. And then that last year's tie against Puebla was a perfect example of not underestimating your opponent, going there to handle your business and looking forward to the next round. And that's exactly what we did. And we need to repeat that this year. Like I said previously, there's teams in the last eight that don't give us as many headaches. The Pachuca is gone, Leon is gone. So those are usually teams that we're like, damn, like this is gonna be a good one, no matter how their form is. Like they're usually the ones that give us a couple of headaches here and there. So we need to start taking advantage of that. We need to really send out the message to the rest of the other teams that listen. If you come and face us, then it's going to be a problem. And I think doing what we did last year to Puebla, respectfully, is a perfect way to kind of show that to the rest of the league.
Now, my only concern in this one is saying that I feel like I know that in recent times, especially this last game we had in San Luis, we absolutely tore it apart. But San Luis is always a difficult place for America to go visit. We don't necessarily always walk away with the best results. Now, I'm not saying that we normally lose, but we don't play our best football. We don't have our best kind of idea or team structure in that stadium. I don't know what it is. Ever since growing up and watching games in San Luis, America always finds a way to complicate themselves. Chris, I don't know if you can call back to the time where the man in your profile picture, Chango Moreno, was on the other side playing for San Luis. It always seemed to be a nightmare going over there to San Luis Potosi.
Yeah, it's one of those stadiums, right? We in the top of our head, we could name some stadiums that even though we're the home team, like the crowd is completely America. Like it's just for some reason just becomes a very ugly game. Where on paper we should be completely destroying them. Sometimes it just leads into a very tight and uncomfortable game. I was looking at our starting 11 from when we played San Luis in February. It's a very similar starting 11 that we're gonna have in this series. besides Oscar Jimenez, who's not gonna be there, right? And Chava Reyes, that's not gonna be there. Besides that, like we upgraded in this those two positions, in my opinion. So that's why I guess I'm kind of comfortable, right? You shouldn't go off of what happened in the past, but I do think you feel a better team. We're a better team now than we were then, and I don't know if we could say the same thing for them.
That's interesting. I mean, that's very much a very good argument and a good point to kind of take in that perspective. Christian, how do you feel about going away to San Luis?
I mean, just basing it off what we did this season, I'm comfortable going there. I think that the players understand, and I think it helps that we've been there already this season, so they kind of know. And like what Chris pointed out too, it's a similar lineup. So 85% of the lineup should know what to expect. And these guys all played the Gia before, so they know we got to bring it up a notch. So I think that we'll do fine.
And you mentioned something particular here is that you said that these players know what it's like to play Liguilla. And this is basically the same core group that we had
Right.
that had that exit to Toluca. So I think there's a little bit uh, of an extra factor that they want to kind of get this chip off their shoulder and say, you know what, we messed up and we want our revenge. We want our opportunity to go out and potentially make amends for what we did wrong. And it'd be nice to see if they're capable of doing that and put the ghost of Liguillas behind, right? Because
Of
it's
course.
been a while since we've been able to claim a good Liguilla, quote unquote. So it's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be a difficult matchup, and Chris, you mentioned it, right? This has Juarez vibes written all over it. When we go
Yep.
to Noe Stadium, that where we know we're not gonna play pretty, where it's just kind of that. I feel like when you can tell when America's gonna have not that great of a game at an away game, if you're watching it on TV and the stadium looks dark and you can't really look at it like it's not clear cut the camera angle's a little bit weird. It's either too zoomed in, too zoomed out. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's my dead giveaway for okay. This is gonna be a complicated game for America.
Yeah, I mean, it usually is the field, and it. I don't know, man. It is one of those things. I would like to know why that is, right? Because you think about cholos, right? Maybe it's the turf that they use, or maybe it's the weather or the day they play, or But it does become one of these weird things where you go away and the game gets uglier than it should be. One thing I will say though, San Luis is gonna play like it doesn't matter. I think for them, getting this far is already an achievement. They're gonna either play very aggressive. Like I think they're gonna play very aggressive. That's what I expect, right? I expect them to just go all out, and if they lose, they're like, okay, cool, we went farther than what we expected to go. Maybe for them it's just like if it works and we become champions, it's cool. But I think it's one of those things that they might be a little bit more risky, more going more forward. Like we said, their best players are all fast players, but I think that might be an advantage for us too because any ball that they lose and they're off balance, our attack is gonna like completely destroy that.
I agree in the sense that it's gonna be a tricky game to try to figure out Atletico San Luis because on one end you can expect them to kind of play like you mentioned, right, all out, kind of give that sense of like I got nothing to lose here, so I'm gonna go all out. But I can also see an Atletico San Luis trying to play a chess match with Tano Ortiz's America, saying, "Look, I'm comfortable dropping back, soaking up the pressure, and relieving on the counter." Because we mentioned the one thing that they have is speed, right? And I think that's the one thing that scares us and should scare us because
That's how they were
we're gonna,
playing yesterday for most of the
yeah,
first half against Leon.
Yeah.
and we're gonna be exposed. Let's be honest, our defense is not the fastest, and you're looking at the fullbacks that we're gonna have, which is Miguel Ayun on one side and Fuentes on the other. Like it's just not looking too positive for us on that perspective. So we need to be cautious on how we approach this game. And I think if America wants to take an advantage to the Estadio Azteca and dominate the way that we mentioned, we have to control that ball. We need to have majority of possession and we need to be smart with the ball. That's the most important thing. So it's hard for me to pick one side or the other, but I could see it being more how Chris said, Christian. They're gonna come out kind of guns blazing and saying, you know what, we're in front of our fans. It's do or die moment.
Mhm.
Here it goes, America.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't know. I like I said, anything can happen, right? I do expect us to have most of the possession go throughout the whole game. I think that we'll get a lot of time in their end and trying to create, trying to do something to kind of frustrate them or break them down or something. You guys mentioned great points with Murillo and Vitinho. They're fast, and I think that just plays to their strength. I think that's how they like to play. That's how they looked so dangerous against Leon yesterday because all they needed was that one pass to one of them, and then they just created an amount of space. And like you guys said, our fullbacks aren't really our strongest points, so that's something they could expose. So that's why I feel it would better suit them for them to soak up a little bit and then counter. Which, like I said, I that's how I think they're gonna play, but it could go either way. Another thing that does kind of put me at bay is that America was the second best team, best away team throughout the whole season, only coming in second to Monterrey by 1 point. So that does fill me with a little bit more confidence and knowing that the boys know how to play on the road when everything seems to be against you.
Definitely, and I think that's what Carlos Diaz had said
Mm-hmm.
as well. You know,
Yes.
our away form has never looked this good, or at least from the perspective that we're having it this season, it hasn't really shined as much as it has.
Let
I
me
agree.
ask you guys this though, because we're talking about the fullbacks, right? That potentially they could get exposed, and kind of expecting them to get exposed. If you're Tano, do you experiment at this stage
No.
of the season? Do you go out and take out a Valdez and put in a Pedro Aquino? You know, have a Pedro Aquino, Fidalgo, Richard type midfield? Because I think one thing Fidalgo has been criticized for is being losing the ball in crucial moments, right? And then maybe in one of those like the Cruz Azul game, right, where he tries to stop the ball and he slips and it goes through and there's a goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you go and put a Pedro Aquino just to have more of that cushion, kind of say, look, the result here in the first game does not matter as long as we don't lose. In in La Azteca, we could go in and score goals because we know we're capable of doing there, and we're more comfortable there. They're not going to go and risk it in the Azteca, even though we try to force them to. It's going to just open up the field for us more having Valdez in that game instead of this game. Like instead of being the chaser, you get what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just feel like if we do that, then we're just playing more into their game and not what we know how to play. I think we would prefer the trio of Richard, Fidalgo, and Valdez because that's how we know that we're the best team with those three in the midfield. If you start putting Pedro Aquino, then you're just pretty much inviting them to kind of pressure us a little bit. That's what we don't want. I don't necessarily think a tie or a loss is good for us. I think we need to go out here and get a 2 goal or 3 goal lead if possible. I don't think playing conservative in the first leg is the right way to go, knowing that we are the superior team, in my opinion.
So
I
let
agree
me
with
let me
Goga.
counter that. Let me counter what you just said right now. You said what we don't want is invite them to pressure us, right? But are we sure about that? When you
Yeah,
have two speeds, well, the thing is, they'll probably do better with a counter attack against us because you see what our defense is of capable of not doing, right? Like of letting that if you give them the space, it's a good chance we're gonna get scored on. And I think San Luis, like Ivan said earlier, maybe they want to sit back and let them let us go forward, attack, be frustrated, and then the moment we lose the ball, they come with two speedsters that are gonna score potentially. So what if we do invite them to come and pressure us? Are you comfortable with us counterattacking? Are you
it's just
comfortable
not our
with
game.
Cabecita? It's not, but at the same time, I think you gotta adapt to your style of teams, don't you think?
Sure, but if what's been working for us against the Chivas, against the Monterreyes, against the Tigres, I just feel more comfortable sticking with that kind of a play style than sort of adapting to San Luis, which a team we really shouldn't be adapting to. If anything, they should be adapting to us and what we're gonna bring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. What
And I
about
feel
you,
like
Ivan?
if you add a Pedro Aquino to the equation, you're not really stopping anything in my opinion. I think you're just crowding the midfield, to be honest, because you're bringing in a center defensive mid, and you're not really.
Maybe you could cut off some passing lanes, but that's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
and I
well, you
don't think
let
that's
Fidalgo be more of the dribbler he is. I think it could work, in my opinion. It just becomes one of
True.
those things
But you
where
don't think him and Valdez would kind of just like get in the way of each other?
no, Valdez will be subbed out.
Oh, right. You said Valdez. Yeah, you're. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry.
yeah. Valdez will be
Yeah.
subbed
I
out.
mean, yeah. I guess, but I don't know. I
But
don't know.
see, the thing is for me though is that you're introducing Pedro Aquino to stop the speed that we could potentially kind of
Well, not
be attacked
necessarily
with.
stop, but he's the extra man that's gonna help out Layun or Fuentes whenever it's needed. Instead of
But
like,
but I don't see Pedro Aquino doing that. He kind of tucks in between the center backs. Granted, one center back goes and covers Layun's spot or covers Fuentes' spot, then okay, Pedro Aquino drops there. But I, I don't think that's a solid solution. And like I think Christian mentioned, it's not a game that we need to adapt to them necessarily. I think we can plug some holes and maybe make an adjustment here or there, but I don't think we need to switch out our whole game plan. I think, and I don't know how crazy this might sound, but I think Lara starts this game.
oh, I don't want that.
Yeah. I don't know about that. As much as I kind of don't like either of them, I think you got to go with like you in the hot hand here.
Yeah,
Hot
yeah.
hand.
We're talking about marking. Layun might be slower and he's gonna probably lose matchups. Lara can't mark, bro, and the last thing you
Yeah.
want
No, a lot of
is
cannot
a
mark for
good,
anything.
a fat distance between them. You know, he's fast. Don't get me wrong, but is he fast enough than Murillo? Is he fast enough against
But I think,
Vitinha, right? That's his name, right? Am I saying his
yeah,
name?
yeah,
Yeah.
Vitinha. So, but my thing here is that if we're trying to find a solution to their speed, right? Because we have nothing but slow guys out there in the back, then Lara isn't a quick, easy fix. And I'm not saying that he should start. I'm just saying that if we're thinking like that, then I can see why Emilio Lara starts. Not for his marking abilities, but just so much for the speed, because if you're thinking that they're going to play to that counterattack and we're going to have more of the ball and they're going to try to pinch us on one of these, then obviously you feel like Lada's more capable to kind of run and, get back on time in order to try to defend. Not saying that he's going to
True.
do a good job, but it's all circumstantial. I know that that's the case here, but if that's what we're going with, right? But I don't think that's going to be the game plan. I hope that's not the game plan, because I think America needs to stick to what's been working so far, and that's
Right.
simple: having the ball, controlling it, moving it around, and letting the other team play around you rather than you play around them.
I think it's safe to say that when it comes to the midfield, like their assignment is going to be go and help out your defender. I think we might see a reach out and a Fidalgo a little bit, not tucked all the way back, but you're going to see them a lot more on the recovery, right? Instead
Hmm.
of this uh, attack focus. I think it's going to be one of those things where like, okay, they're fast, or at least it should be like that. I think like I know people are gonna say it's San Luis, we shouldn't be struggling, this and that, but it's football, and we know how they play against how teams play against us, right?
Right. Of
I
course.
think I do think they're okay with if they lose and they get eliminated. This is what they're okay with that. But with that being said, we know that players from other teams get a fat check if they beat America, and if they do this in the Liguilla, their bonus is probably be bigger than ever. So
Right.
I do expect us to be very have an assignment in the midfield where we have to go and help Layun, help Fuentes, help Cáceres, help Reyes. Because if we don't, we leave it into a one-on-one. Things could get very ugly, and Leon saw it this past weekend.
Yeah,
Mind you,
and
Leon was
Midwestern.
one of the best
Mhm.
defensive teams in the league. So
Yeah, absolutely. And Midwestern Cholo just kind of added on to that, saying that to him, it felt like Leon lost because of lack of concentration. They made silly mistakes, and America can learn from that. Don't think that this game is too easy. And I think that's what kind of trying to throw caution to the wind and say, look, maybe a lot of Americanistas will say, San Luis, whatever, book us into the next round. It's not that easy, and I think the players understand that, because they came into this Liguilla last season as well with Puebla saying, we were the heavy favorites, but we went and showcased it. And I think Dan Ortiz learned from that and understands that, and he's going to go and try to project that as well to these players.
Right.
So It's gonna be interesting. I'm curious to see how this team plays from the get go. Are we gonna go with a high press? Are we gonna get them kind of going, or are we gonna sit back a little bit, invite them to move the ball around, and then we're gonna try to figure them out after 5-10 minutes? Like it's gonna be interesting. We'll have to wait and see, of course, but it's it's looking like it could be a promising game. Now, of course, it could be a repeat of the Puebla game, and we could be scoring goals left, right, and center, or it could be another Juarez game where we score an early goal and we kind of can't find a solution after that. So it's gonna be interesting. Um, well, give me your projected starting 11, Christian. You're pretty good at these.
I think we'll just go with what Chris said. I think we'll put Malagon in net. The back four would probably be Fuentes, Cáceres, Reyes, and Layun. In the middle, you'll have Richard, Fidalgo, and Valdez. And then up top, you'll have Cabecita on one side, Leo Suarez on the other side, right? Because Diaz isn't
Yeah.
ready. And then Henry Martin up top.
Pretty good, strong, as strong as it can get. Of course, with Sendejas coming back in the second leg, you'd expect it to be the case, but good overall. A good starting 11 that I think we need to see from the get go. You know, just absolutely take the game to San Luis and not let them grow in any way or any fashion. Because you can't give these teams any type of confidence going forward, Chris, or else you complicate the game for yourself.
Yeah, you
Like
can't.
Leon
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah, you just gotta. I'm not saying like I'm sure it's Liguilla, right? So these teams are gonna be fighting until the very end, But at the same time, I do think we're capable of ending this game early, right? Maybe getting a good lead in San Luis isn't as impossible, right? We're talking about how things could get complicated, but like we could also be end up like just floating through this game, and going to Azteca, just continuing, It could be that. I think we're gonna see an America well prepared up top, especially from this week of break. Our team was a little bit banged up, and I think we're just gonna be ready for this Liguilla.
Definitely. And a couple players that we need to highlight that need to have a good Liga, or at least that are going to have a lot of eyes on him. And working my way from the back to the front, obviously Malagon. All eyes are going to be on him after the performance he had against Juarez and the performance he's had ever since he's been the starting goalkeeper at America. A lot of eyes on this one, Christian, if
Of
he can
course.
hold true testament to his value.
I agree.
And then from there on, you're thinking Israel Reyes, obviously, right? You
I'm thinking
mentioned it.
Layun, honest, before Reyes, if I'm being honest with you. And the reason I'm saying Layun is because that's a guy that gets a lot of criticism. And if he's the reason why, for some reason, we don't lift the 14th, everyone's gonna explode, and I'm in that crowd.
No, yeah, absolutely. I agree. There's a lot of pressure on him, but he's kind of been there, done that with America type of situation. And Israel Reyes, you're looking at him, youngster, coming through the ranks and potentially being a center back for the national team. So a lot on the line here. And like you mentioned, Christian, he's someone that kind of didn't start so hot, but now is looking to be better.
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of my perspective on the defense. Now you're moving into the midfield, and obviously your boy Fidalgo is on the hot seat here. Like,
Of course.
he needs to find a way to completely like, give people amnesia and forget about the regular season and have the best year of his life in order to kind of have a testament to saying, I belong in this team, I deserve the number 8, and continue to be that Fidalgo that we know and love.
Of course. No, yeah. I think you put it perfectly. Yeah, this season has been a down year for him. I'm pretty sure he knows that. But like you said, this is the perfect time to kind of revert all of that. And you talk about it every Liguilla. Always puts out a little video saying that he loves his team. He wants to win the title with his team. He's dying to win a title for his team. Now it's just time to prove it, especially on the down year. I think this is gonna be a very important month for him.
Let's put quotations
Definitely.
on the down, because you
Down
know
year.
because it
Down
depends. It's
year.
perspective, but you look at the stats, and he's like first in a lot of these categories around the league. But it's considered a down year for other reasons. Maybe crucial moments, but
Yeah.
either way, it's like I said, quotations.
We
He
need
hasn't
him.
played
We
bad
need him
at
to
all.
be at his best to win
Yeah,
the 14th.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then of course, moving on, you're thinking Diego Valdez. I
Of
mean,
course.
he's
yes,
capped off a really good season, but now he has to showcase it towards the most important part of the season, which is the
Hmm.
Liguilla.
this is
So
where the Rolfie Montenegro comparisons start to come in.
yeah, well, I think they're only coming from you.
Well, I mean, other people have been saying it too, but I might have started that. But if those that remember Rolfie Montenegro, he wasn't the worst player, but Liguilla came in and he completely disappeared.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you know what? I would have said Sendejas after him, but of course, he's injured. And Midwestern Cholo asked us if we know the status of him. He's not gonna be fit for Wednesday, but all signs point to him being able to return on a Saturday. And the most
I
important
don't
thing,
I
if
don't know
America
if many eyes are on Tendejas though.
I think
really, I feel like
Cabecita,
they would be.
Cabecita for sure has a lot of.
Oh, for me, that's my guy.
Yeah,
The guy I'm gonna
That's your
keep a
pick. Yeah, I
super
think
close eye.
if you had to pick either or, I think people would look more at Cabecita than Tendejas, honestly.
yeah, yeah.
And you know what? If you guys paint this game to be the way that you guys have said so, the way that San Luis is gonna kind of go out and die and just give us an abundance of space. This is the Cabecita type of game. This is where
Yeah.
he shines.
Didn't
And the
This is
Cabecita have
Valdez
a
game.
good game against them in the?
he didn't. He didn't. He was
He didn't. It
he was
wasn't this game.
nullified.
It wasn't this game then. Oh,
He,
never mind then.
he had an
I'm thinking.
assist to Henry.
I'm thinking of a different
But
game then. Anyway, that's
yeah,
besides the point though. I thought
yeah.
I thought it was a San Luis game.
Henry had a brace, and it was Valdez who
Yes, Henry
scored the
did have
other
a
goal.
brace. Yes.
Henry had a wonderful second goal though, and I'm hoping
That's
that
where
he can
he got into
capitalize
the
that.
top 10, right? That's the
Yeah,
game that where he got
yeah.
into the top 10 to top scorers.
And then, but I mean, obviously, then the biggest name, and everyone's gonna have his eye on, is gonna be Henry Martin. Like,
Yeah,
no doubt about it. And then you guys were talking about this earlier about the fact that that Atletico San Luis coach, or wait, who was saying it?
Yeah, it was him,
yeah,
the
yeah.
coach.
The
Yeah, the
coach
Atletico
said
San
he
Luis
was
coach.
the coach of the Brazilian Olympic squad, and
Mhm.
he's been saying that Henry's been a headache ever since then because then he came to San Luis and he's been scoring on San Luis since he's been there. So he's been a
It's
headache
true.
for him.
And Henry has to continue to be that headache, right? The headache that no pill can ever take off. So hopefully he can ride the wave and cement himself as one of the best strikers to ever play for America. Now I know that's a huge stature to try to live up to, but it wouldn't help if he scored a couple goals and led this team to a championship, right?
Yeah,
Because at this point, the way that thing the in the pecking order right now, he's behind Peralta. I mean, fair to say.
I think it's hard. I think it depends. I had a conversation recently about that, and it depends how you measure it, right? Some people kind of take away Peralta's career with us ever since he joined Chivas, and then that miss against Tigres in the final. It depends how you measure it. I think
He has a title with us.
yeah, but so does Henry,
He has
Henry,
two.
It's two.
yeah, too. It just depends how you measure it. If we're looking at it from that perspective, then yeah.
I mean, interesting. I mean, we can definitely settle the debate if Henry Martin was able to score a couple of goals in this game and shot us up to the semifinals, and then from there on to the finals and to lift the 14th. Then problem solved.
Yeah,
But I think right now all eyes will be on Henry as to whether or not he can continue his goal scoring record. And I think it was important for him to get that goal in the friendly. I know it's just a penalty, but still, a goal's a goal, and he needs it, and he needs to continue
Has
rolling.
Henry
So,
ever scored in the final with us?
in a
uh,
final?
In a final.
No.
no.
You know
But
who
he was
has?
top.
Viñas.
Okay, that we lost. We
Viñas
That
scored in the
game,
final.
that game was sideways in every
That
single
that was a
way.
golazo too, by the way.
It was.
Yeah, it was a nice goal. Now we could get rid of him.
Hey, but look, Viñas could still crown himself as champion with America and win us the championship.
That's
if we
crazy.
get that far.
Imagine it came down to Viñas to take the last 90th minute penalty kick.
like
And it was
you.
up to Viñas to give us the title.
That's crazy. I'll still
Well,
push my agenda.
Chris, do you still push your agenda?
Yeah, bro. I did the same thing for Layun.
Chris said that if Viñas wins us the championship in the 90th minute penalty, he will get a Viñas haircut.
Is this true, Chris?
He has an Edgar cut.
Yo, he really does.
Yeah,
He
he
has
does.
an Edgar cut.
So Chris, we'll all get Edgar cuts if Federico Viñas wins us the 14th. Let's just put it that right there and there.
I'm down. Dylan has to do it too, though. I know he's listening. I
Yeah,
want to
no,
see him
doing
with
for
Dylan would
sure,
do it. Dylan for sure would
for
do it.
sure. Uh, but I mean that's kind of what we're looking for ahead in this match. Everything paints for it to be a walk in the park, but like we said, caution to the wind. It could be one of those, ugly victory type of situations. But you mentioned it, Christian. It has to be a victory. Like nothing less can come from this game, or else it's a complete failure.
If we get a victory, we gotta also recognize that San Luis was the second worst visiting team in the whole league. They only had a 1 win and 1 draw, and then the rest were all losses. So I mean,
Well, I
if
mean, you can add another win now that they had a game against Leon.
yeah, but I'm talking, that besides the point though. I mean, Leon and America are two different things, right? The Azteca and whatever they call their stadium is a different thing.
Their
But that,
stadium
but
that's falling
I,
apart.
their stadium's the Barcelona
like
Pirata
reversed,
version.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so then
Um,
if Barcelona's is the Spotify Camp Nou, what would be Mexico's equivalent of Spotify?
Pandora, maybe. I don't know if you
No, no,
ever
no, no. They
got
have
Pandora.
one.
they,
Mexico
they
has
have they have
like
a
a
music stream, a
yeah. They
streaming
I, I
service.
I think Ochoa sponsored it or something. I can't remember.
What
LimeWire.
really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
That's a LimeWire
I'll look for
stadium.
it. I'll look for it some other time. But
But yeah, so like
keep
if
going.
we win on Wednesday night, then it's just like we should be with the most utmost confidence heading into Saturday night at the Azteca in front of 80,000 fans. You know what I mean? At least I hope it's 80,000. Like, why
No,
wouldn't they?
I think they'll cap it at like 70. I don't think they'll have um a full blown sellout, but it'll be
Ooh,
interesting. We'll definitely have a lot of fans in San Luis. That's
sell it
always a
out.
given.
Ooh.
Always a win
Yeah,
given.
yeah.
Um, so we'll see.
You guys know if you
Uh,
can buy tickets from the US to a Mexico game? Like,
yeah, you just have to use the Mexico Ticketmaster.
to go to
But what's the
Ticketmaster.mx.
fan ID stuff?
Yeah, literally.
Really? I'm about to do
But
it right
does
Yeah.
the
now.
fan ID come with it, or is it like something you have to
No,
get at the
you
stadium?
No,
no, you
it's
have to
it's an
do all
app,
that
no?
stuff. Yeah, you have to download an app, and
The fuck?
it's
It just said I
complicated.
can't.
Well, Christian tries to find some
Oh,
bootlegged tickets.
.com.mx. Giving me
There you
wrong
go.
information here.
I'm about to send you to a different website.
Hey, why is there? Never mind. Let me see here.
Are tickets out
Um,
already?
May 13th. Oh no, they come out tomorrow.
no, yeah. The tickets will go on sale
And then
tomorrow
but that's only for if you have a membership though. But for us, it releases on Wednesday for the game
to
on
the general
Saturday.
public, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you can buy it here then? Okay. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll take a
see?
quick trip to Mexico. Who knows?
There you go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
We'll get some
So
quesadillas sin queso.
yeah,
Yes,
the most mythical food that there is out there.
we gotta go
So
try one.
I'd be down. Well, gentlemen, anything else you want to add on in regards to this preview of the first leg?
Just this is where the game we have to show to the league that send a message just like last year. Literally repeat last year. Go out there and show why you are the best team in the league. That's it.
Could we expect another 4-0, Chris?
I wouldn't expect it, but if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised. Type thing. I don't think you should have that type of expectations ever, because you're never gonna be satisfied if we don't win.
What are you talking about? We're Americanistas. That's like the expectation every single game.
But it's like you're never gonna be satisfied. I think
But to be honest, are we ever fully satisfied?
no.
As
but
Americanista, no.
Probably not,
My
right?
life has ever found a fulfillment as an Americanista.
we're a
You always feel
spoiled
like there's
fan
more.
base. We're a spoiled fan base. That's why when
We are spoiled.
people I guess get mad at me for my Mexico national team takes, it's like, look, bro, if America's in the World Cup, I'm expecting America to win it. With Mexico, I'm not expecting anything great like that. So I know, so that's us. That's our expectations as Americanistas. Maybe it's a little bit delusional, but we've seen miracles happen for us. So
I
Yeah.
agree. I would rather live a delusional life than to live a regular life. Let's just put
Yeah,
it that way.
that's facts.
Well, then just give me your scoreline prediction, guys, for this game against San Luis on Wednesday.
I say 2-1.
3-1.
Damn, no one's got a clean sheet, and I don't. You know what? I don't blame you guys. Yeah, I'm going 2-1 too. I mean, I want a full blood. I want to sit here and be like 3-0, like for sure, for sure.
We've kept one clean sheet in the last one, two, three, four,
Yeah, no,
five,
you have to
6
go.
games.
Yeah, you have to go way back.
We'll get a clean sheet in the second leg. I
I
believe
think
that.
we'll get a clean sheet in the Azteca, yes, but in this
I
one,
hope
no.
so. We need it.
3-1 or
Kevin
4-1, I think we win.
Kevin
I'll go
Paris saying
3-1 though.
3-1.
I mean, Kev.
3
Kev going with a 3-1. Chris, you're going 2-1.
2-1.
I'm going 2-1 as well. Um, I just I don't know.
Now, I would be perfect. We get a clean sheet and we get some big high numbers, right? Like a 2 or 3 goals. Then we don't really have to stress anything when it comes to playing in Azteca. But I think it's Liguilla, and like we were talking about the whole away field and everything. Just one of those stadiums. Like to me, a 2-1, it's comfortable, but it's not that comfortable. You know, we get the 2 away game. 2 away. Do they count away goals?
No, away
No.
goals don't count anymore.
Okay. So either way, like it just works.
He's like, we just get a goal.
Yeah, it's 1-0. Watch it be 0-0.
Oh gosh, no, I hope not. Especially because it's a late game, and I haven't even gave you guys the rundown. But the game's gonna be on TUDN, so that's gonna be at 8 p.m. Well, 8:10 Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock at night. Chris, over there for you, Eastern Standard Time,
It's at
and
11?
then it's 11 o'clock at night for you guys. Yeah,
Huh.
because the game's at 9 p.m. in Mexico, and they're obviously an hour behind.
Oh, it's at
I mean,
11
ahead of us.
o'clock.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's at 11 o'clock at night.
Son.
It's a terrible game for a weekday.
Yeah,
Wait,
for a week.
it's-
I don't mind on
it-
Saturday because I chela, but on Wednesday, ah, that's not good.
So it's gonna be an interesting one. Yeah, and then it's gonna be the same thing on Saturday. It's gonna be at 8 p.m. my
Yes.
time, so 11 o'clock your time as well. That one's gonna be a little tricky for me to watch. I got 2 parties to go to that day.
Oh, sorry.
No, I did. I'm just kind of like, oh man, this came at a wrong time. I'd rather just stay home and watch the America game.
That's why
Well,
I've always wanted or preferred America when it comes to Liga to play on Thursday and Sundays. Because like Sundays, no one really does anything on Sundays.
Yeah, it's very boring.
It's just a better experience, I guess, for me. But I know why we play Saturdays.
I'm traumatized by Sunday games because of the whole late 2000s having to play on the Sundays. And I remember my mom was like in this religion phase, and we would go to church, and then we come back, and it's the worst America games ever, and I still had to watch through the whole season.
I feel you. I 100% feel you on that. So I had a feeling that we were not gonna get the Sunday game just because I feel like America wanted to capitalize on the fact that San Luis played on Sunday, and they said, well, the less rest the better. And I mean, they've been playing Saturday this whole time, so I think they wanted
like
to
I
do
said,
that.
I understand why they picked Wednesday, Saturday. I just would have preferred Thursday, Sundays.
Agreed. It would have been a perfect day for. Well, actually, you know what? No, it's a good thing we didn't get Sunday because then it would have been Mother's Day. Oh wait, but it is gonna be Mother's Day in Mexico on Wednesday. And then you guys remember? I saw someone tweet this. I don't know if you guys saw this too. Was like, I hope America does not play on the 10th of May because that's Mother's Day in Mexico. And you remember when we played Pachuca and they did the whole like mothers' names on the back of the jerseys and we got
yes.
smoked. So I was like, please, Lord, just don't let us play on the 10th so that they don't do something like that again. So,
damn.
Let's just hope America just doesn't remember about that and just goes out there and plays their game. So we'll see. So yeah, late game. What are you guys gonna be watching it, eating, or you guys having your chocolate milk? What are you guys doing
on Wednesday? Nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe a glass of water.
Glass of water, and you're trying to keep your
Chris,
eyelids
you don't
open.
need until the weekend, bro. Not even some
bro, you
frijoles, bro.
Nah, son. That's a terrible time. 11 o'clock at night. I usually go to bed
Midnight
at
snack,
12.
bro. Midnight snack.
No, fuck that. I usually go to bed at 12.
Take an edible, bro, while you're watching that.
That was crazy. Maybe a cup of coffee to stay up. I don't know, man.
Look. All you need is a cup of coffee and some pan bimbo, and you're good to go.
Pamimbo.
There you go.
It's
Una
gonna be 8
concha.
for us, right?
It's gonna be 8 o'clock for us, so
Oh, that's perfect. That's
that's like
perfect
late
window.
dinner. Late dinner. We can pull something off. I'm actually gonna be I don't know if I'll be home by then, but we have a birthday dinner, my girl's sister's birthday, so we're probably gonna go there like around 7ish. Maybe come back like right when the game starts. So
You're a very eventful guy. You know that, right?
it's this month. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like I was looking at everything that we had to do because obviously the baby's coming around too, and so I'm just like, oh my god, if he's born in May, I swear, like it's just gonna be nonstop for the rest of
Yo,
my
what if
life,
he's
just
born
month
in the
after month.
final when we're crowned champions?
Damn.
That's actually gone through my head a couple of times, and I'm just like,
Like
oh
that's
my
his
god,
destiny talking at this point.
like
It's like
yeah,
those
no, of course.
TikTok videos where they're like, "Oh, what would you do if your team was playing or your NBA team was playing in the finals during the same time your girl was giving like
Yeah,
labor and
that's
stuff?"
that's kind of
Yo, what
And
would
then
you
it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go
do?
watch it because the Knicks are never in the finals." Like, what the hell?
yeah. I'm just thinking like I'm just in my head. I was like, there's a way for me to sneak a TV in the delivery room, right? Like we can just it's gonna be on basic satellite because it's gonna be on Univision.
You're gonna have to
So
tell your girl, "Hey, hold them in for at least another day."
yeah, like
Yo, for
whatever you
real.
do. So he's due June 11th, right? But she's saying that there's a potential. She has a feeling, just a mom instinct, that
Mhm.
it's gonna be coming in May. And I'm just like, well, it's not anytime soon, I would imagine. So I have a feeling May 28th. Um, so
That'd
I
be
don't know,
crazy.
man.
That'd be
And I'm
crazy.
thinking to myself, what if it's the final? Like for example, it's the repeat, America Chivas, and you're down to
Oh
that final,
God!
and you gotta, and like, and my
Nah,
kid's
that baby
getting
gotta
is,
wait
is
then.
being born. Like, it's
That
all going
baby
through my
has to
head.
wait.
So, uh,
Damn, that's a tough. That's
Yo,
a,
yeah,
it's
that's
crazy.
what I'm saying.
It's
like maybe
crazy
because I'm not a
how,
dad, but for me, I'd be like, "Bro, I'm choosing America over you, kid."
bro. It's crazy how a team has this much impact on our lives to be even
Hmm.
questioning if we should be there
Yeah,
for
no,
the birth
exactly.
of your child or watch the game.
Oh man, so we'll see
That's
that. No,
insane.
but we'll see what happens. First things first. Get through San Luis, and then
Of
we can
course.
dream and hope
Hmm.
as we go. Um, but is there anything else you guys want to add on before we wrap it up here?
Yeah, so 3-1 in San Luis, and then we win 3-0 at the Azteca.
Well, hold on. We're gonna come back. Well, we might not be here for the
Yeah, I might not
for
be here, so that's why I'm
yeah.
saying it right
So
now.
okay.
Yeah,
So thank you for giving me your
yeah,
prediction.
no problem.
Me and Chris will be back on Thursday to cover the second leg and to kind of recap of what happened in the first leg to see what went right, what didn't, what needs to improve, and what needs to 100% continue to happen in the Azteca. So don't worry, guys. You guys are gonna have us for another podcast episode going forward, and we'll just take it from there. Um. Predictions for tomorrow's Real Madrid Manchester City game?
5-0 Real Madrid.
God damn. Okay.
You know,
Chris, a little bit more of a realistic
I'll go with
prediction.
him just because it sounds more positive. But I feel like it's one of those.
Oh God, I don't
Lost
know,
it.
man. I don't know, man. It's
Hey man,
Not,
Kev is going 2-1 Madrid. So there's
that's my
some
boy
hope here.
Kev. That's my boy Kev. I like to see that. Yeah, any win, I don't care. 1-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, 3-2. We just need to win. We just need to win tomorrow. That's it. And then we'll worry about next week when we have to worry about it.
I like it. I like it. All right, gentlemen. We'll keep you guys up to date with everything. Make sure you guys follow us over on Twitter at Eagle Eye Podcast. We're gonna keep you guys up to date minute by minute. Everything going on in that game, reactions, coverage, everything. So you guys make sure you guys follow us, and then we'll be back, like we mentioned, on Thursday to talk second leg. Chris, anything else before we wrap it up?
just something small. I seen that. I just want to know how you guys feel of Roger Martinez potentially going to Cruz Azul.
I saw that today on my drive back home from work. I
How
was
real
like,
is
huh,
that?
that's weird.
Uh, so one of the reporters from Cruz Azul was like outside of their facility saying that that he's one of the names to look for Cruz Azul. And I just want to know, like, how do you guys feel if he were to go there? Like, I know he's not
I don't.
necessarily like a referent or anything like that, but I do think there's fans that do have this attachment to him, or his talent. Do you think
I
it's
wouldn't
like
care.
a big loss, or it's like whatever? Like it's
Yeah, no, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, same. I wouldn't. When I saw that, I was like, huh. I wonder if if that would ever work out. But I was like, in my head, I was like, "Yeah, I could see it working out, but at the same time, all this noise, all this ruckus, that you want to go back to Europe
Argentina.
and all of this,
Yeah.
and maybe even Argentina, and then you're gonna settle for Cruz Azul, who's not gonna pay you the same wages. Let's be honest.
And
He's
we've
gonna have to
offered
take
him
a wage cut.
an extension too. Like we offered him a contract to stay for at least another year, from what I read.
And with a wage
So
cut too. But I think that's the
yeah,
thing. So, but I was just like, really, you're gonna stoop to that level? But I'm like, you know what, whatever. I don't really care if he comes, he goes. Perfect. We need to free up an international spot, and he he's
two.
he's the first one that needs to go. Well, yeah, two,
It's
but
two, right? Two, but
yeah,
Two,
but
it's two now. Yeah.
two, because yeah, we need a reinforcement, and now we have one less spot to deal with. So it's gonna be interesting, to say the least. But we'll see if that has any truth to it at the end of the day.
That's it. That's
So,
all I can think of. Right?
Yeah.
There's no
all
other
right.
American news.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about
Uh,
any news, honestly. Some of
yeah,
these.
let's just focus on Liguilla, and then we'll leave the rest to a different time. But well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out. Christian, so much. Thank you for coming after your jog around New York Times Square, and then Chris, as always, thank you so much for making the time.
Of course, man. Of course, always here.
Alrighty then. Okay. Well, thank you to all of you guys who came out. To Carlos, Kevin, Midwestern Cholo, everyone, whoever I missed, I'm sorry. Carlos Diaz, I think I mentioned him already. So thank you guys so much, and everyone who's listening right now on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Thank you so much. We'll be back on Thursday. Talk all things Club America in English and get you guys up to date and ready for the second leg. Until then, you guys take care, and as always, Arriba America. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.